Most people open ChatGPT and type something like, best productivity tips, or how to lose weight, or what's a good gift for my mum, and then they look at the answer and think, that's fine, I guess. Not bad, but not exactly life-changing. Which is weird because everyone keeps saying AI is going to change everything. Here's what's actually happening. They're using ChatGPT exactly like Google. Short query, vague question, waiting for a list. And ChatGPT is a fundamentally different kind of tool. It just happens to look similar on the surface. The moment you understand that difference, really understand it, the way you use AI changes completely. Everything gets more useful, more personal, and more practical, and it happens fast. This video is about that shift. What it is, why it works, and exactly how to make it happen today. Start with Google, because most of us understand it intuitively, even if we've never thought about how it works. When you type a query into Google, it searches an enormous index of web pages and returns the ones it thinks are most relevant to what you typed. It is a retrieval system. It finds things that already exist. The quality of what you get depends almost entirely on whether someone has already written a good answer to your question somewhere on the internet. Google is extraordinarily good at this. It's the fastest, cheapest way to find existing information. If you want to know the capital of France, the opening hours of a restaurant, or whether a movie is worth watching, Google is your tool. It points you to sources, and you evaluate them yourself. The mental model for Google is simple: I need to find something. Type a keyword, get pointed toward it. That model has been so deeply ingrained for 30 years that most people apply it automatically to every information tool they use, including AI. And that's exactly the problem. ChatGPT is not a retrieval system. It doesn't search the internet and return links. What it does is fundamentally different. It reasons, adapts, and responds based on everything you tell it. The keyword is context. The more context you give ChatGPT, the more useful it becomes. Not slightly more useful, dramatically more useful. Because it's not finding a generic answer written for everyone. It's building a response shaped specifically around your situation. Think about the difference between these two prompts. Google version, best work schedule for busy parents. ChatGPT version, I'm a parent of 2 kids under 6. I work from home, get interrupted constantly, and lose focus completely after about 2 p.m. I have a hard deadline every Friday. Help me design a realistic work schedule that actually accounts for all of that. The Google version returns articles written for everyone. The ChatGPT version gets you something built around your actual life. Flexible work blocks, realistic expectations, backup plans for interruptions, strategies designed around when you specifically tend to lose focus. Google retrieves information. AI helps shape it. That one sentence is the whole shift. Here are the 5 specific changes in how you think about ChatGPT and what each one actually delivers. 1. Give it context, not keywords. Instead of typing what you want, describe your situation first. Who you are, what you're trying to do, what's in the way. Don't type email to client. Type, I need to write a follow-up email to a client who went quiet 3 weeks ago after what I thought was a good meeting. Friendly, but professional, not pushy. 2. Treat it as a conversation, not a search. You don't need to get everything right in the first message. Send a message, read the answer, tell it what you liked, what missed, what you need more of. The back and forth is where the quality lives. Most people send 1 message and leave. The people getting the most value send 5 or 6, refining as they go. 3. Ask it to think with you, not for you. The most powerful prompts aren't give me a list prompts. They're help me think through prompts. Help me think through whether I should take this job. Help me think through the pros and cons of this business idea. Play devil's advocate on my plan. This is what AI genuinely does that Google cannot. It engages with your specific situation and pushes back. 4. Tell it who you are and what you know. ChatGPT doesn't know your background unless you tell it. I'm a nurse with 10 years of experience. Explain this research paper without oversimplifying gets a completely different response than explain this research paper. Front-loading context is not unnecessary, it's the single biggest determinant of response quality. 5. Know when to use Google instead. Current news, local information, source verification, real-time data. Google is faster, more accurate, and free for those tasks. The professionals getting the most out of AI in 2026 are not replacing Google with ChatGPT. They are using each one for what it genuinely does better. Here's a real-world example. Same topic, two different approaches. The Google approach. Type, how to negotiate a salary. Get articles with generic tips. Ask for a raise in writing. Know your market rate. Be confident. Information that applies to everyone and therefore feels like it applies to no one. The ChatGPT approach. I've been at my company for 3 years, got excellent performance reviews, and I know from a colleague that someone doing similar work was hired last year at significantly more. My manager is conflict averse, and I've never asked for a raise before. Help me think through how to approach this conversation. Now you're getting a response built around your specific manager's personality, your history, your situation. How to frame this with a conflict-averse boss, language that feels collaborative rather than confrontational. What to do if they deflect. The information was always available. The difference is entirely in the framing, and that's completely in your control. Before you switch entirely, 2 real limits worth knowing. ChatGPT can be confidently wrong. Unlike Google, which links to sources you can verify yourself, ChatGPT synthesizes and sometimes gets things wrong without flagging it. For anything where accuracy really matters, medical, legal, financial, factual claims, verify independently before acting on it. Use it to think, then check the facts. And it doesn't know what happened recently unless you're using a version with web browsing enabled like ChatGPT with search on, or Perplexity. For time-sensitive queries, Google still wins on currency. Used right, with context, in a conversation, asking it to think rather than retrieve, AI is one of the most genuinely useful tools available right now. The gap between how most people use it and how it can be used is enormous, and the only thing separating the two is the mental model you walk in with. If this changed how you think about AI, share it with someone who's tried ChatGPT once, shrugged, and gone back to Google. They're one mindset shift away from finding it genuinely useful. Subscribe for practical, clear coverage of AI tools and tech every week. Thanks for watching.